One.
Well, don't count out loud.
Oh.
Second take.
Can I stop? Say
It's
stop
fine.
this?
No,
Say
Don't
stop.
stop it. Don't
No,
stop it.
you're
Just
good.
everybody
Okay.
be quiet for 10 seconds.
Okay, well, today we are here in Father Kevin's office, and we're talking with Mike Kavanaugh, our senior warden, and Jeff Alderbeff, who is the chairman of the stewardship committee here at All Saints. And we're here today to discuss All Saints' financial condition and give an update as to how we've done over the past year and what we're forecasting for the current year and what the challenges we have faced and will be facing as we go into 2022. So, Mike and Jeff, just the first thing we wanted to ask was...
Thanks for having us.
Well, you're certainly welcome. And the first question we wanted to ask was, given all the challenges that COVID has take two on that?
Well, just count to 10 and then just start with that question.
Yeah, retake. Give yourself.
Just the question. Not the intro was perfect.
That was great.
Okay. Given all the challenges that we have faced here at All Saints over the past year, we wanted to find out what has enabled us to survive financially in the face of these different, challenges we've encountered.
That's a great question.
I'll take a stab at that first. You can
Stab
jump
away.
in if you need to. I think, first of all, leadership. I think starting with Father Kevin, going on down through the wardens and the vestry, has played a huge role. I think generous giving by the parishioners, especially pushing forth the online giving, has really helped. And thirdly, I'd say we were fortunate enough to get two of the PPP loans, which has helped us get through. So leadership, generous giving by the parish paying attention to our finances, and the PPP loans, I think, has got us to where we are. And as we go further along with questions, Jeff and I can give some details about where we are specifically. But for now, that's the general answer.
Well, let me add in also, in leadership, obviously Ed Pierce, our treasurer, did a wonderful job of getting us the PPP loans, which was terrific and very helpful. And I think the innovations that Father Kevin did and some of the other leadership on how we worship together really connected with people. And I think that helped make church relevant to people during COVID, and that inspired the giving that was able to sustain us for the period.
Great,
Excellent.
thank you.
Good job.
And could we say that we are on budget for the year?
Yes, we are. We're close. We're a little bit in a deficit budget right now, but about where we were last year. We anticipate a number of end-of-year pledges that normally come in. And with regular holiday Christmas giving, we should be right on target. And again, thank you to Ed Pierce, who does the budget every year, to get us to this point.
Yeah, so just a little more detail. I think both expenses and giving are pretty much straight on.
Yes.
Expenses slightly more than we budgeted, but no real reason for that except things cost more money than maybe we thought. And giving is pretty much on target for what we expect. Church giving is always seasonal, so that last quarter is usually the biggest quarter for the church in giving, as people make up the amount that they pledged, they might not have given. So with a good final quarter, I think we'll be in good shape.
That's great. Do you expect a surplus or a deficit for this year?
Same answer, I would say. Probably a small deficit. Not necessarily true, but it certainly won't. There won't be a large deficit, and there probably won't be a large surplus. I think we'll be right down the middle as we were last year.
I think there's going to be a surplus, small surplus. I'm optimistic.
Great. How many pledging units do we currently have? And have you seen a change in the nature of the pledging units, the types of people who are pledging?
That's a great question.
It's a great question. The last couple of years, we have not had a formal stewardship campaign, COVID being one of the reasons. So That's a difficult question to specifically answer how many pledging units we have. I believe that we have a number in the 60 to 65 family giving units. There's a difference between a giving unit and a pledging unit, but I would say we're in the 60-ish family giving units at this point. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's about right. And I think the nature of the pledging units or the people who are giving now in the congregation's changing a little. So we're moving from a bit of an older congregation to a little bit more of a younger congregation. We have more families and stuff. So the nature of the givers are going to change with that.
Yes, good point. Thank you.
Right, and how, just following up on that, I mean, what have you seen in terms of the physical presence of the people attending services and so forth? How has that gone over the past year?
Well, I'll tell you, I saw 5 babies in the service yesterday, and I was so happy. And all of them cried at least once, which is even best. They're terrific. I mean, it's just lovely to see. And the hope, All Saints is more than just a church. It's a weird thing to say. It's more than just a building. It's more than just a spiritual Sunday. It's also a community, which is one of the things that we love about All Saints. And the hope and desire is if we can get a number of 5 families with young children together and have them grow up in the church together and have a community, man, that's a home run.
I mean, we're probably already at 5. Let's go for 10.
Yeah, 10. All babies are welcome.
And I heard that there were a lot of baptisms this year during the summertime and the fall.
We had at least 3, right?
And one family had 2.
I think we had 5.
We had 5, at least 3, but the answer is really 5. So I must have missed 1 or 2, but which is really remarkable in today and great. It's a great sign for our future.
Great. And what's the, from a stewardship standpoint, what do you feel is the goal of this year's stewardship campaign?
Oh, I think one of the biggest goals is to get everybody aware that we're out here. We are doing a stewardship campaign. It's important for families to support All Saints. And again, as I said earlier, we really haven't had that formal stewardship campaign that we had year to year for a long time. And I think it's just time to raise the consciousness a little bit, to let people know where we're at, what we need, and where we're going.
Yeah, and I think there's 2 parts to my answer on that. One is we always want active giving, right? So that's really important, I think, for a healthy church and for healthy spirituality, right? People to look at their finances and say, okay, what should we give to the church? My relationship with the church, and that should be a number that people actively think about each year in connection with how the year's gone. So some years that should go up, some years it goes down, whatever is appropriate, and not have people just sort of fill in the same number that they felt in the past, because that's what we did last year. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, this stewardship campaign is a little more geared at what the church does besides the Sunday stuff. Everyone knows the Sunday stuff, and Kevin's awesome, and Colette, the music is great, Deacon, everybody, which is more than enough reason for some people to come. But our church also does a lot of outward-looking things, mission, outreach, and that's really for ourselves, the stewardship aspect of it is to get people to understand the additional things we do, because that's part of our DNA.
That's a great point.
Right, and greater emphasis with the community, I understand. In other words, we're trying to interact a lot more in that regard with the local communities and
Absolutely.
doing more for them.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 weekends we've had, 150 families here buying Christmas trees and wreaths, and it's been fantastic.
Right. And that was part of the reason why we did, as a stewardship thing, the raffle, which all the proceeds go to our mission, was to get people who come for the tree sale, which Mike does. We do every year, and then we have a lot of people who come to actually come into church and then understand the other things we do. Either see the church for that spirituality part of it, but also the fact that all the proceeds of the raffle went to our mission, and that we do a lot for a small church for other people. And I think just getting people in, either members of the congregation who aren't as familiar maybe, And also members of the neighborhood to come in and do that. I think that was, more than anything else, that was a home run.
Yeah.
Because people come in and they're like, wow, it's just great what you guys do. We didn't know. And then they're happy they know.
Yeah, and this is the first time that we've actively done that, and not just had a tree sale with the doors closed, but actually open the doors. Come on in, have a cup of coffee, have a donut.
Right.
See Jim Reliant, see what he's doing.
And see Santa Claus.
Take a tour of the church.
And take a tour of the church. And there's a lot of history between those two doors.
And it is amazing how the response you get when you ask people if they want to come in. People want to be asked. You know, even if they don't come in, they just want to be welcomed. You know, and that's what we are. That's the type of passion we are.
I think that's a great word, welcoming as a church, and that people feel that and understand that they're welcome here at all times. Just following up on the stewardship campaign itself, if the church has more giving, more revenues coming in for that purpose, what do you feel we'll be able to do with those funds, with those additional funds?
That's a good question, and actually, that's a question that you asked me, Jim, when I did the presentation for Rose Anderson and myself for the wardens. I think my answer was initially to take stock of what we're doing in terms of stewardship and mission and outreach, and to whom are we giving, what are we giving, why are we giving, who needs the money. But I think there's a second piece of that, and Jeff has mentioned that to me, and that's, you know, what else can we do? And you know, it's early, so it's tough to exactly say what else we could do, but Father Kevin has mentioned to us about youth and education in the surrounding communities. There are a lot of openings. You've got that Ossining Children's Center open, which apparently is a top-notch facility. Maybe we could do some additional work with them. I think it's to be seen what else we can do, but certainly initially we look at what we're doing and maybe kick that up a notch.
Well, and I think, and also because now we're getting families with babies, which is really great, you know, offering a child care for once in a while situation where moms can go out, or whoever the parent is who's watching the kid can go out for the day, and they could leave the child behind, or maybe a Saturday night out type of thing where kids can come in and allow the parents to get a chance to go out on their own. That would be pretty cool as a thing for us to do. So there's plenty for us to do.
Great, and so looking ahead, you know, for the next year or so, what do you see as the greatest financial challenge for All Saints, you know, over this near term?
I think we started to talk about that earlier today, and that, at least initially, Jeff had mentioned that the parish is changing, maybe becoming a little bit younger, a lot more families, so we need to get the message out to the families about what All Saints is about and how they can help and how they can worship here with us. And that's a challenge. I mean, that we've during the pandemic, hopefully coming out of the pandemic, that's where we're at now. The parish is changing. The numbers are up in terms of parishioners coming into the church. So we need to run with that. We need to see where that's going to take us. Anything else that you?
No, I love that, and I think part of that is that people get raised in church life different ways. Certainly was true for me. Like I was raised Catholic. Karen, my wife, was raised Baptist. So pledging and all that stuff was very familiar to her. She knew all about that and how churches survive financially. As a Catholic, you know, I kind of we passed around the plate. We put money in, but it wasn't a pledge situation. I never really was connected with what the money did with what the church did, and maybe that's just my experience. So when you get new members in, it's important for them to realize, you know, we are the financial body for the church. I mean, the congregation is what provides the funds for everything we do here, and it's a great place to accumulate money so we can make more of an impact. So for our budget, everything we're a bare bones type of church in many ways, but in our budget, the excess usually goes to mission and outward things. And so when you think about it, the fact that you can, whoever gives, and we get to a place where we have more money to give out to the outside world, we can, by accumulating that money in a mission, we can affect more people than if we just sort of did it on our own, which I think is important for people to know.
Right, and
So-
I think just one other point that as you're speaking, that comes up, because, you know, as your co-chair on stewardship and also sitting on the outreach committee, the whole idea of participation. You know, Kevin always says if we can get them to walk with us, they will be more inclined to join us as a church, and therefore contribute to our church as their own, you know, as their own spiritual home. And they will see the value of participating with us in these different projects that we have.
And that's the great thing about Episcopalians, right? The church, the Episcopalian Church is our church, right? It is a congregation's church. You know, priests come and go. Kevin's, we think he's going to stay forever, but priests come and go. But at the end of the day, it's the congregation that makes the church, and our collective values and what we do together. Right?
Well said.
There you go. We're very optimistic about the stewardship campaign. We think it's going to go very well.
Great. Thank you so much.
You
Thanks
got it.
very much.
Thank
We
you, Jim.
appreciate your
Well done,
candor.
Jim.
Have a good night.
Okay, thank you.
I push the red camera. You see the camera note to the right? You got to push that.